Viewers, by now you might have come to know that GNA is claiming to be in control of whole of Triplicity, and GNA is claiming to be in control of Tripoli International Airport as well. GNA spokesperson, he issued a statement and he tweeted as well. He said that the administrative boundaries of Triplicity were under the control of GNA. He further said that the Tripoli International Airport, it had also been cleared of all the Haftar elements. No denial, viewers, no rejection from LNA side so far. Scores of videos, pictures you can see on internet in which GNA fighters can be seen at Tripoli International Airport and at places like Qasr bin Ghashir and other places like Ain Zara, which have been under the control of LNA. So that shows, viewers, that GNA is definitely in control of Triplicity and Tripoli International Airport, viewers. A very, very important development, viewers, because we know that LNA in April last year launched an offensive to take control of Tripoli. So almost a year, and now instead GNA is in control of Tripoli and Tripoli International Airport, viewers. Now, viewers, I'll discuss this development from another angle, viewers, and then I'll discuss which other fronts are going to be busy now. Because after the fall of Tripoli and Tripoli International Airport, viewers, new fronts might be opened by LNA and GNA as well. So I'll discuss these likely new fronts. But before that, viewers, we know that 10 days ago, fighters of PMC Wagner, private military company Wagner of Russia, they decided to leave Tripoli. They were at Tripoli fronts, but suddenly they decided, and more than 1,000 of them, they left from Tripoli towards Bani Walid, and from Bani Walid airport, viewers, they were evacuated. Reportedly, Russian planes came there, and these fighters of PMC Wagner, they were evacuated from Bani Walid airport, viewers. Now, what I want to discuss, viewers, is why did these fighters of Wagner Group leave Tripoli? Because after their departure from Tripoli, we saw that GNA started putting more pressure on LNA, fighting intensified, and LNA side, it became weaker. And ultimately, GNA stormed their positions and took control of these fronts. Why did these fighters of Wagner Group, they leave South Tripoli fronts, views? Either they were finding it difficult to hold on to these fronts. These fronts were becoming riskier for them, more dangerous for them. So they decided to leave these fronts, viewers. Or there was some sort of understanding between Turkey and Russia, viewers. We know, viewers, that Turkey and Russia, they always stay in touch. Their heads of state, their foreign ministers, their officials, they do stay in touch. Despite being on opposite sides in Libya, viewers, they do stay in touch here as well. We are seeing in Syria that they were on opposite sides there, but now they are conducting joint patrols there. Resistance to these joint patrols, viewers, IED attacks, landmines, but still they are managing this working relationship. Same is the case here, viewers. So I won't be surprised if I come to know that a message was delivered from Turkey to Russia to evacuate their fighters from these fronts of South Tripoli. That is why these fighters left this front, and then more pressure was built from GNA on these fronts, and ultimately LNA, they were unable to defend these fronts. Now, viewers, which new fronts are going to be busy in the next coming days? First, from LNA's perspective, then from GNA's perspective, viewers. Because from LNA's perspective, I think they are going to now go towards Gharyan. Gharyan is very important for them, because now if they want to save Tarhuna, they will have to take control of Gharyan. Now immense pressure is going to be put on Tarhuna by GNA, and only one thing can save Tarhuna, viewers, from GNA, and that is the capturing of Gharyan. because only one supply route after forces is available to them, and to Tarhuna viewers. This supply route, it goes past near Mizda viewers, from Mizda to Nesma to Bani Walid to Tarhuna. Now this route is going to be put under pressure from GNA. So LNA must take control of Gharyan if LNA wants to be in Western Libya. That is why viewers, we are seeing continuous airstrikes on Gharyan from LNA. And today we heard that Russian fighter jets, they also carried out some airstrikes on Gharyan. Though no confirmation about the Russian fighter jets, viewers, but we heard of it. So that shows that Gharyan is priority number one for LNA. They will definitely put more pressure on Gharyan. That is why they have captured Al Asabiya, viewers. We know that Al Asabiya was under the control of GNA for almost a week, but day before yesterday, Al Asabiya came under the control of LNA. And the first and foremost purpose of capturing of Al Asabiya is to put pressure on Gharyan. So now definitely LNA will put pressure on Gharyan to release pressure on Tarhuna if LNA wants to remain in the game in Western Libya, viewers. Now, viewers, from GNA's perspective, it is a golden opportunity for them to put pressure on Tarhuna. Tarhuna will be under pressure now because South Tripoli side, it is under the control of GNA now. Now GNA will try to cut off the supply route after forces to Tarhuna, viewers. As I told earlier, they will defend Gharyan. Then they will try to take Al Asabiya, viewers. Just a few hours ago, we heard from the elders of Al Asabiya, viewers, that after the fall of Tripoli, they have decided to back GNA. No confirmation so far, because earlier that happened as well, that when these elders of Al Asabiya announced to back GNA, and GNA forces tried to enter Al Asabiya almost a week ago, then fighting broke out between GNA and LNA. So now again, these elders of Al Asabiya, they have announced to back GNA according to some unconfirmed reports, viewers. Now we'll see how GNA responds, viewers, but they will definitely like to take control of Al Asabiya. From Al Asabiya, viewers, they will go towards Mizda, and from Mizda to that Tarhuna supply route from Nesma, Bani Walid, and to Tarhuna. So that we'll see in the coming days. Are GNA forces willing to cut off this only viable supply route to Tarhuna, viewers? So far, no response from Tarhuna tribe. Al-Qania, their private militia, still aligned with LNA. And Al-Qania's fighters, they were also fighting on South Tripoli fronts as well. So now they must have withdrawn towards Tarhuna. So far, no announcement from Tarhuna tribe. Tarhuna tribe definitely aligned with LNA, and though it is becoming increasingly difficult for them to stay aligned with LNA in changed circumstances, they are almost surrounded on all sides. So how long can they stay aligned with LNA? That we'll see in the coming days. Then viewers, next front is Sirte, I think. Very important front, because we know that Sirte oil basin, around 85% of Libyan oil reserves in this area, oil refineries, oil storage areas. So definitely GNA will not leave this area to LNA. Sooner or later, GNA will launch an offensive for Sirte. From Misrata towards Sirte, we'll see movement of GNA forces. When will we see this movement? That is the question, viewers. When will GNA decide to advance towards Sirte? That we'll see in the coming days, but it is going to happen unless and until there are negotiations between GNA and LNA, and there is some sort of compromise, some sort of agreement. There are some signs of this engagement between GNA and LNA, viewers, because we know that UN support mission in Libya, it has announced that both GNA and LNA, they have agreed to resume military level talks. So some signs that there might be a dialogue between GNA and LNA, viewers. Then visits of officials of both the parties. Faiz Sarraj is in Turkey, Haftar is in Egypt, then Al-Juwayli and other GNA officials are in Moscow. So several things are happening in the background, viewers. It seems that uh, in near future we might see this communication between GNA and LNA and some sort of dialogue between them, because this area Sirte, it cannot be left by GNA to LNA. Very important area. Definitely GNA would like to launch an offensive for this area, and if this offensive is launched by GNA, viewers, it will become increasingly difficult for the backers of LNA to remain silent. Egypt, UAE, they will not be able to remain silent if GNA forces decide to hit Sirte, decide to capture Sirte and the areas to the east of Sirte. So definitely they will come into play then. But several things are happening, viewers. I think things are happening in the background as well, and backdoor diplomacy is also going on. So very soon we might see some dialogue between GNA and LNA. But so far, this capturing of Tripoli and this Tripoli International Airport, it is a major development and a big boost for GNA and a huge blow for LNA. Thanks for watching.